particularly in Atlanta. Atlanta used to be one of those cities where you could live in Atlanta, I should say, and get a home for $100,000 and it'd be a nice home. 150,000, you could get a nice 3-bed, 2-bath home in a major metropolitan city. With the international airport where you can get just about anywhere in the world with one flight. I mean, Atlanta was just like a hidden gem that a few people discovered, and now everybody want to come. So
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's
supply and demand. Prices go.
That's what caused the issues.
We full. I've told people this before. Stop coming here. We are full. They don't listen to me.
We are. Just look at the roads. But if you coming from LA, you coming from New York, can you see the traffic they get?
Fresh air.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this traffic is nothing. I be sitting 3 hours on the way home. I'm like, look, we ain't trying to turn this into LA. This ain't LA. This ain't New York. This is the South. This is Atlanta. We like a slower pace of life down here. I don't like sitting in traffic for just hours and hours on end. I used to be able to walk around and people would actually speak to you because that's something you do in the South. You know, you say hey to folks when you pass by them, even if they were strangers. Now is literally just a hodgepodge of, everybody that's come to Atlanta and, different backgrounds, different cultures, which has its positives. But you also, when you're from Atlanta and you grew up around ATLians, you kind of have that longing for what you had when you were a kid. Southern people is just something you don't see as much anymore, at least not in Atlanta. You can go to Alabama and catch some of that maybe. But as far as the housing prices, or housing cost, I should say, like you said, it's the increase in people that the supply has been outpacing the demand. Did I say that wrong? The demand has been outpacing the supply. And so That's why we have the increase in the housing costs and everything. Atlanta's becoming more and more populated. We don't have as many houses, which is why everywhere you look, you see new construction coming up, new builds, new homes, new apartment buildings.
Ain't nobody afford them.
Maybe that's intentional. Have you ever thought about that? Like, I didn't think about that until just now. I was like, you know what? Maybe that's intentional. They're trying to weed out the crowd that they don't want by making the homes above what that crowd can typically afford.
They can only do that in certain areas because the same house that you build in Johns Creek, you take that same exact floor plan and build it in Clayco.
Yeah.
You cannot and you will not, you can't charge the same, you will not get the same amount. I don't care how you slice it.
Yeah.
Buckhead versus Henry County, same house, same floor plan, but it's going to be 3 times as much in Buckhead, minimum, as it is in Henry County.
Location.
So, trying to keep people out and all of this, the people who are really winning right now are those homeowners who've had their home for a while. I feel like because they're the most secure.
Yeah.
The people that are trying to purchase houses, right, it's just so hard. Like you're making, 60, 75,000 and all you can afford is maybe $180,000 house. What is that to a person with a family or to a person in their late 40s or 50s who wants something other than a starter home? It's nothing. And, and then for them to say in the article that we're outpacing Miami, Houston, Dallas, like who would have, these are areas that people normally think of as highfalutin. Like I've heard, don't go to Miami unless you got money, period. Don't even go visit for a vacation.
Yeah.
Unless you got the moolah. And their housing prices are more affordable than here?
Yeah. The rate at which homes are increasing or housing costs are increasing in general, in Atlanta particularly, is crazy. I, as a loan officer, and you also as an agent, I'm sure run into a lot of people who, they've got decent jobs, they make decent income, they go to get qualified, and I'm like, I can get you 250. I can get you, which used to be able to get you something real decent. I mean, used to be able to get something really nice for 250, and now 250 is like, oh, you kind of scratching and clawing a little bit to find something in the 250 range.
And this was just 5-6 short years ago that we're talking about. 250 could have gotten you something nice. We're not talking about in the 90s, okay?
Oh, absolutely. No, this is literally like
early 2000s.
Yeah,
99 in the 2000s.
Back in the Freaknik days.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't even have to go that far back. You literally
what really tripped me out in the article was that heat map.
Oh.
It said these are all of the areas in Metro Atlanta where houses have gone up. Everything was red except this little splotch of blue, right?
It's like this little blue dot. I was like, is that a mistake? What is that? I'm reading, trying to figure out what town is that blue dot in. Like,
I gotta go back and look at that.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what is that? I'm wiping the screen like I had something on it. I didn't know what that was.
Boy. If the Lord didn't tell me to come here, I sure would leave.
Yeah, because everybody sure enough want to be here. And I mean, I get it. Atlanta's a cool place, and
it is. It's got a lot of history.
And you know what? And I'm gonna just say, like, Atlanta is one of the best cities in the country that you can be for Black people. Like, it is a place where I've seen a lot of Black people just start businesses
and thrive
and really do well for themselves. I mean, it's a place, and I'm not saying it's the only city in the country like that, but it is definitely one city that has been known to, be a place where Black people can come and just have a really good opportunity to just start a business and thrive and do really well. I mean, it's just been really good in that aspect. So
I think that's because I would venture to say, I could be wrong and I'm willing to be wrong, but I would venture to say that Black people or the African American community, in my opinion, is the majority. Like, there's nowhere that you're going to go, except for a few places, that you don't see us, that we don't represent in some form or fashion, even in the Peachtree cities and the Alpharettas and the John Creeks and the Milton,
Yeah.
So you can't help but thrive when there's that many of people that look like you around you. Now, because I think in a lot of places, inner cities, major cities, there's that crab in the bucket mentality, but here it's almost like we all we got. And I think one of those things, like, I think the reason why, like, you do have to have your qualifications and you do have to, it is all about network and who you know. But I think Black people here help each other more. And it could be because of the past history of this state.
Oh, yeah.
Wherein
absolutely.
We were all that we had. We had to unify here due to, slavery and so much segregation and discrimination. And so, even when you think about Oscarville, where Lake Lanier was built on top of that. But Oscarville was this thriving community of Blacks. We had our own bank. We had our own everything. We didn't need to go outside of that for anything. And then, legend has it, the whites came and flooded it.
Oh, is that the legend?
Legend has it, because I don't know for sure, but that's where Lake Lanier is now. And it's largely considered a haunted lake. I mean, a lot of people that go there, it's so many drowning deaths there yearly. And it's like, why not? The waters are troubled. This has been on top. You built this lake on top of a whole town of people. You flooded them out because they were thriving. But I love that the spirit of that particular time still exists today, in Atlanta, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll
I would
say,
definitely say that because I came from Texas, and I won't say, well, yeah, racism and this glass ceiling I can definitely attest to the fact that it is there.
hmm
You're only going to get certain opportunities there
hmm
compared to here. If you have the qualifications, the money, or you know the network, you can literally do whatever you want to do as a young Black professional or even an old Black professional. Let me not, leave
yeah,
nobody out, but
no, it's
I
true.
truly believe that.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. And I'll go as far as to say, a little bit more on the history point, and this is actually tied into the increase in housing costs as well, like towards the end of the story. But there was this thing because Atlanta used to be, a lot smaller than what it is now. It used to be, just a few inner cities. You had your Atlanta proper, you had your College Park, your East Point, your Hapeville. Those are the Tri-Cities areas and, Marietta or whatever. But when you started venturing outside, like Conyers, that was not considered Atlanta. You're outside the perimeter, all of that stuff. And Atlanta's just grown because it's landlocked, so it can just continue to expand. But when you used to have Black people that would move into an area or start expanding out, I would say, into an area, you had what was called white flight, where the white people that lived in that area started selling their homes and moving further out. So it's like, oh, like I remember when we moved to Conyers, Conyers was mostly white. There were a few Black people there.
Really?
Yeah, Conyers. The Conyers today was not the Conyers that was there when I moved to Conyers, which was before Stonecrest Mall even got put out there. Like it was a completely different Conyers, Georgia. But
Us out there now.
it was mostly white in Conyers when we moved out there. I mean, it was Black people out there. Don't get me wrong. It was a good number of Black people, but it was definitely a whole lot more diverse and a lot more white people that were there. As Black people started to move more in, it was like you had this white flight where white people just started to move further out. Now they're all up in like Lake Oconee somewhere. But
what's that start with a B? Up north.
Up north. I don't know anywhere up north. Brooklyn.
I can't think of the name, but it's
Bronx.
way up north. By the lake. There's a lake up there. Anyway. But yeah.
But no, it was literally like, you had the white flight. And then what you're starting to see now is that a lot of those white people are starting to move back into the city. And you're seeing a lot of gentrification taking place. And so gentrification, just for those of you who don't know, is not white people coming in and buying up Black homes. That's not what gentrification is. Gentrification is an area that's being made, being renovated, if you will, to, be made better than what it is. You go down a street in Atlanta and you see a bunch of boarded up homes and roads that need work and, everything. You might have some investors that come in, they buy a couple of those homes and they fix them up, they make them nicer. And next thing you know, the whole area is starting to look a lot nicer. Maybe you see some new shops or some new stores, the sidewalks are starting to get redone. That's gentrification, is beautifying an area essentially. But what happens is it typically has a negative impact on the people that already live there, because it displaces them. Taxes tend to go up when you have gentrification, and
that's what displaces them. The property value, baby, they ain't charging $100,000 for them renovated homes or them new homes that they building. They charging $500,000 and $600,000, whereas your great grandmama bought this house for $40,000. However many years back, and the property values over there may have been 220, 185. But you put a $700,000 house next to your 185, and when they go up on your tax bill the next year, $2,000-$3,000, they're going to use that as the justification.
And that's a lot of, again, what you see now with that, gentrification. I say a lot of, and it's not just white people moving back in that's making the area nicer. You've got people from other states that are also moving in.
They be coming with the moolah, especially if they're moving from California and New York, where they're house prices are so much higher than here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we bought a 30-bedroom mansion for what we had in California. Yeah.
But it's just interesting whenever I'm driving down, because I grew up on the south side of Atlanta, in East Point, and it's like whenever I'm driving through some neighborhoods that were neighborhoods that a little less par.
Sketch.
Sketchy. But you start to see some renovated homes popping up, and some newer constructions. And then you drive down one street and you see somebody out walking their dog, somebody that don't quite look like me. That's out walking. I'm like, oh, area's getting gentrified.
Walking, running. I mean, them some of the bravest
So
people of not color I've ever seen.
I'm like,
and another thing when it comes to gentrifying and the property taxes, the property taxes, and I feel like you were going to maybe say another thing that pushes the people out, but a lot of people may say, oh, you can just appeal. Just because you appeal doesn't mean that they're going to lower your taxes to a place that's affordable. They may knock $700 off this year, but then that next year, they're still going to go up. Well, a lot of times you can lock that appeal in for like 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
But then after that wears off, oh my gosh, you're talking about a tax bill going from $2,500 or $3,000 a year to $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year.
Yeah.
And for somebody that's on fixed income or somebody that's low income, you have no choice but to leave. It's Black's life.
Yeah. It's unfortunate what's happening, and that being combined with all of the demand for people that are moving to Atlanta now, and gentrification combined with increased population and migration is just creating this perfect storm of people who have called Atlanta home for decades, generations even, getting pushed out of the city because they no longer can afford to live here. And, I feel for those people, because, that's history that's kind of just being, washed out, because as an area changes, as an area gets gentrified, it does lose some of that history. It loses some of that character. It loses, and you have a lot of historic areas in Atlanta. Obviously, Martin Luther King, if you ever been to, Martin Luther King Center, or you ever been, where his church is, in Georgia, or any of that stuff, it's a lot of history there. And, some of the stuff, it's like you don't want to quite see it all change. Some of the parks that are around Atlanta, some of the historic, areas, the Atlanta Black Crackers, if you've ever heard of them, that was actually it was a minor league baseball team that played a Negro League, if you will, baseball team, that was in Atlanta, because there was a time where Black people were not allowed to play in Major League Baseball. So the Atlanta Black Crackers was an Atlanta baseball team that would travel around and play whoever was willing to play them. And so, you have a lot of history like that, and you just don't.
I never heard that before.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually went to, there's a field where they used to practice at, and there's an organization that's, doing what they can to try and protect some of these areas, rather than just seeing them leveled out and turned into a apartment building or whatever else to generate income. I actually went to the field where the Atlanta Black Crackers used to practice at. It's actually it's downtown near the south side of Atlanta. But yeah, and if you Google it, you can find it as well, because they have some markers and some posts that they've put up with some information about it on there as well. They've got it's an old building. It would look like nothing if you were to drive by it, but it's like this old tin building, and it actually used to be a school. And I forget the name of the gentleman who went to the school. He actually used to play for the Atlanta Black Crackers, but yeah, it was like a school building. And it was like an old school where he used to walk, he'd go to school, and then he grew up, and later he ended up playing for the Negro League team and everything. Like, some of these things are just, they have history in them. And it's like, you don't want to see all that history just get wiped out, especially at a time where, there's a very conscious effort happening around the country to wipe out a lot of history of, you know, people of color or people, you know, that have had contributions to society or whatever. But yeah, just specifically in this city, because it's the city where I'm from, it's like, you know, you like to see a lot of that stick around, you know, rather than it turning into a concrete jungle, you know, like they say, called New York. And nothing against New Yorkers or, you know, that's New York. You know, that's what New York is. But that's not what Atlanta is. Atlanta is different. And so, you know, you like to see that stick around a little bit. But, you know, things are changing and housing costs are going up. And, you know, it seems like everywhere they can find some green, they're trying to knock down some trees and put up some buildings. So.
Gainesville. That's what the city I was trying to think of. I said started with a D or a J.
Yeah, I said a B. Yeah.
It's G. Gainesville. That's where a lot of, you know, our other brothers and sisters are.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Honestly, though, if you want more land and more yard and more privacy, houses spaced farther apart, you're not going to be in Atlanta proper. But just the fact that, you know, affordability is daunting even in those metro areas now it's a little disheartening, you know. It's a little disheartening. But one thing about the housing market is things will always shift. They will always change. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, you know, prices not being so inflated. I don't want a major national worldwide crisis to happen in order for that to be the case.
Yeah.
But generally, that's what it takes from what I've seen.
Oh, yeah. People, homeowners aren't willingly going to lower down their prices.
Just like corporations aren't going to stop raising their prices and trying to maximize profits every single year. How can we make even more money?
Speaking of which, and this has nothing to do with nothing.
What is?
But speaking of lowering prices, I saw a video on TikTok. It was a gentleman. It's around Black Friday, just after Thanksgiving, and the post had a caption that said, "We have enough TVs. Now let's see you give discounts on them groceries." And I was like, "Yeah, I could get down with that."
I agree. Give me the Black Friday discount on my light bill. Thank you.
I was like, yes, I never would have thought about that, but yes, I agree.
Groceries, yes.
Because I mean, it's like,
not no Black Friday.
They like 50-inch TV for $300, and this guy was like, "We got enough TVs. Now let's see you discount them groceries." I was like, yes.
Yep. Best Buy had 75-inch TVs for like $350, and they were name brand. I was like, oh my goodness.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh well.
Well, they can discount them home prices too while they at it.
I had a few inbox advertisements from different agents talking about Black Friday price reduction. Girl, you can't put no house on no Black Friday special. Get out of here and go shopping.
Well, speaking of the cost though, one of the solutions that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people have started looking into are they're building homes with different materials now. So, you know, they're testing out building homes with like, you know, the recycled material. I just am like, is the house going to hold up the same? Because I mean, you've heard of that before. I'm sure you've heard of it, like with them, 3D printed homes, where, you know, you've got the whatever they use to 3D print a home, and it's
the big bad wolf gonna come and he gonna huff and he gonna puff and he gonna blow that.
They're like, oh, the homes are just as durable and they're energy efficient. And I'm like, okay, but durability is not something that you can just say, and it is. Durability is something that has to be tested over time. Exactly. It has to be tested over time.
Y'all just came out with this talking about durable. Get out of my face.
Yeah, it's like these be durable.
There's a reason why the song says she's a brick. Ow, what's up? She's mighty. I ain't gonna say the rest because that's not really applicable, but yeah. mighty. excited.
Not gonna let that part hang out.
Even if
Okay.
it's only 1 or 2 or 3 sides brick, please.
Yeah, is yeah. I mean, we'll see, but
No, thank you.
yeah, and they're trying to come up with solutions, and I get it. There's
Cardboard gonna be next. What?
yeah, and then you're gonna find some homeless people. We had that figured out like a long time ago. Like y'all just now getting into the movement, like yeah, like that's crazy. I don't yeah. That's what, and they got a company called Boxable. I don't know if you've heard of it, where it's a box, essentially. They build it in a factory. They build it in a factory, and it's like, I don't know, they come in different square footage. You might have a 600 square foot box or 800. And everything is a lot smaller, but they have all the essentials of what you would need to be able to live. It's got a sink. It's got like a little, fold out couch / bed area, and a little place to do your stackable washer and dryer.
I'm not buying an efficiency apartment on wheels, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. And I'm like, so when you drop this box off at someone's lot, like, how does that hook up with plumbing? Like, I don't know. I got 3 kids. I don't want to live in no box. That's just not going to work for me. They like to run around. They loud. That's just going to be, that's going to be so stressful to me if I'm just hearing kids screaming and we all in this little 500 square foot box. Like, no, that's not going to work for me.
Signs of the times. It's scary times. Signs of the time. This is what's passing for acceptable forms of housing.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you. Just give me my traditional brick, even if I got to save up a long time for it. As long as I get one before I leave this earth, I'll be fine. But I'm not compromising. And that's just me, though.
Yeah.
For other people, owning something is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And we fully support that here on Greatest Asset Community.
Oh, yeah.
However, I think when it comes to durability, surviving in gale force winds and whatnot, you want something as sturdy with a good foundation as possible.
Yeah.
And even those homes can get blown away. Don't get me wrong. But
they can. The right storm come along and, yeah, anything could happen. But, yeah, similar to you, it's like I just, But, hey, in biblical times, a lot of times they were nomads traveling around living in tents. I mean, Abraham even did that for a while. So, I mean, it's different ways to get it done,
Back to the Bible days. That's somebody gonna come up with that next. A tent house.
Yeah.
Watch.
Like, forget those bricks. We could put you up in this tent for literally half the price of a home. You only have to pay $150,000 for this tent. we sit you up.
So scary. That is so scary, and you're probably not even far from the truth. $150,000 for a tent.
Yeah.
$300,000 for a 1 bed, 1 bath, 300 square foot house. This is where we're headed.
Yeah.
Buy y'all houses now, y'all. Buy them now and don't let them go.
Because these boxes that you living in with these companies that's coming out with these livable boxes, it's like, these ain't, $20,000 boxes. They still 6 figures for these boxes that you're going to be living in. So, I mean, yeah.
Wow.
Someone somewhere is getting some money. So, yeah. Well, that's what we got. Tune in on Fridays for the next episode. Greatest Asset Community Podcast. Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, going live, home finance hacks. And get you a home before they all gone or before the prices get so outrageously ridiculous. And who knows when the next whatever's going to come that's going to knock home prices again. But, we'll see.
Oh, yeah. And don't y'all forget to like, comment, share, subscribe.
Oh, I never say that. Yeah. Please.
I'm going to start saying that at the beginning of all of these because that's the most important. They may not make it to the end, but they sure going to see the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. We invite you to.
Cut this part out Paste it at the beginning.
Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But till next time, take care. Be blessed. See you next week.